What is creativity? Creativity is anything that hasn't been created before, and our perception of it depends on our past experience, so no one is to judge what art is or isn't. It is subjective. Debates rose upon whether our generation is creative, or if the real art has diminished since the apparition of mass media. Here are a few ideas contradicting this rising opposition to new art.
Blink, focus, can you see it? Take a closer look, your perception's been skewed, oh child of a lost generation, born to a nation's frustration, boiling from the inside. Don't you dare let this one slide, see, pride won't let you see, this just might be your last chance to face yourself. It's worth the second glance in secret compartments of memory. Stop! Salvador Dali paints metaphors. The difference between false memories and real ones is the same as for jewels. It is always the false ones that look the most real, the most brilliant. So let me ask you this. Is the mind resilient? Can it recover its original form after being bent, stretched, compressed? Hold your remote control in hand, despite your patrol being remote, and mute out echoes of doubt that shout, you'll never make it. Be realistic. The world will ruin you. Stop. Search, select a channel of choice for which you will be the voice, and never delay to press play on today. It's a gift. So chill. The bill's been paid. Stop. You got me. There is one catch. According to concept, if you only focus on the gift and not its real essence, it's like loving the moment and missing the motion picture. Solution, put kernels of passion in that popcorn machine and pop spontaneous sparks of love on that big screen. Now, watch this. We are the generation that will finish the work. Curious like Alex Haley, will dig up these roots 7 generations back and find our Kunta Kinte. Bold like Brother Yun, risking extreme persecution if it means dying for the truth. I don't know about you, but I refuse to live a lie. Perceptive like Lozen, young Apache warrior woman. Let's heighten our senses with every pulse. We know no compromise. Imperfect, like human nature. Bound to sin. But wait, saved by one man. Jesus of Nazareth answered, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. John 14:6. We are not a lost generation. I said we are not a lost generation. The Savior has found us, and nothing will ever stop us from losing focus. See it now. Do you?
Walter Benjamin introduces the notion that mechanically reproduced art lacks the singular originality of the artist's original work. There is something different about the way we experience the original and the forgery. Even the most perfect reproduction of a work of art is lacking in one element, its presence in time and space, its unique existence at the place where it happens to be.
Let us disseminate this message, or rather see things in a different perspective. For as long as man has existed, art has been his way of recording time, commemorating the culture and traditions of his environment. Creativity is innate, and as prominent in our genetic makeup as the blood that runs through our veins. The reproductions of art should not be seen as mere forgeries. There is a difference between original and imitation, but does that make it any less artistic? Walter Benjamin fails to understand that reproductions of art are products of a silent rebellion, a creative take that to the status quo. Generation Y has emerged as one that understands taste is socially constructed. Saying that original works hanging in museums open to the few members of the elite create the best experience is just another way of reinforcing class claims. We live in the age of a highly concentrated media production system, and concentration of wealth is in the hands of few. Our thoughts and tastes come from external influences, and because we rebel against an elite definition of creativity, our art is somehow less meaningful. Our art has mass appeal that is celebrated by all classes. I create because my art will not be stifled by class claims.
Andy Warhol is an infamous pop artist who shined on the brink of mass commercialism and mass production. Pop art is an art movement that emerged during the 1950s, which consists of using neon colors to represent brash, materialistic subjects. By using this eccentric form of expression, Warhol creatively portrayed and criticized the symbols representing American society during the boom period. The constant bombardment of the same or similar images, repeated over and over, causes the viewers to become desensitized to its message. Warhol demonstrated these images, depicting a high-consuming and narcissistic society. This demonstrates Andy Warhol's importance and ability to recognize the qualities of ordinariness and to focus on them until they are no longer ordinary. Pop art allows the blurring of class distinctions. As the structural Marxist Judith Williamson analyzes, one such function served by the ideology of ads is to mask the reality of stark class differences in such societies. Ads assume that we all have equal access to wealth and luxury. The queen could eat a can of Camel soup, and so could the normal consumer, which represents the lack of class distinction. Critics believe Andy Warhol's art to be lowbrow and illegitimate due to his use of ordinary subjects. However, creativity is subjective, and who is to define what is or isn't art?
Andy, do you feel that the public has insulted your art?
No.
Won't bother you at all then?
No.
Well, do you think that they've shown a lack of appreciation for what pop art means?
No.
Andy, do you think that pop art has sort of reached the point where it's becoming repetitious now?
Yes.
Do you think it should break away from being pop art?
No.
Are you just going to carry on?
Yes.
Scholars also disagree on whether or not pop art reinforces consumerism or diminishes it by shedding light on societal values. Either way, art is like a really good movie. If we reflect upon its meaning after watching it, it has achieved its purpose. Through his subjects and medium of art, Warhol represents society, questioning its values. The meaning embedded in his art is what makes it creative. I create to make the ordinary extraordinary.
What are you willing to take a stance for? Western culture is filled with an outburst of social movements, none of which are said to be worthless. It's not politically correct. Dr. Winfried Ovelholzer, head of the St. Elizabeth's Federal Mental Hospital, predicted an era of loose living beyond anything seen in the Jazz Age. He declares, and I quote, "The loosening of morals started after the last war and continued ever since, and is reaching a new high as evidenced by the soaring tide in illegitimacy. What's ironic, however, is that our lawmakers are usually the first to bend them." As highlighted by Dr. Strangelove, author of The Empire of Mind. He writes, "Until the mass adoption of the internet, consumers had very little access to information that was not produced by the economic system. So the success of capitalism through the 1900s owes a great deal to its ability to limit the individual's choices. The mind of an isolated consumer proved to be easily managed within a social system dominated by products of corporate speech. Now here we are, at the edge of an information age, with knowledge at our fingertips. We've got options, yes, but do we make better choices? American psychologist Barry Schwartz begs to differ.
So everywhere we look, big things and small things, material things and lifestyle things, life is a matter of choice. And the world we used to live in looked like this. That is to say, there were some choices, but not everything was a matter of choice. And the world we now live in looks like this. And the question is this good news or bad news? And the answer is yes. We all know what's good about it, so I'm going to talk about what's bad about it.
Schwartz insists that freedom of choice has made us not freer but more paralyzed, not happier but more dissatisfied. 20th century philosopher Ludwig Wittgenstein once said, "The solution of the riddle of life in space and time lies outside space and time." the world is in a very desperate state, at times even overwhelming and catastrophic. The more we're bombarded with media-saturated messages that manipulate and sway our perception of what is true, the easier it becomes to lose ourselves.
Does your hope rest in something greater than yourself? A master blueprint. And when all this turns to dust, where do you find redemption? Truth is, all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. But here's the most beautiful part. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him may not perish, but have everlasting life.
I create because my art will not be stifled by class claims.
I create to make the ordinary extraordinary.
So why do I create? To reflect a love that far surpasses anything this world has to offer. Therefore I stand. I stand on solid foundation, my rock, my redeemer, my friend, Jesus.